10 days ago, I committed to a 100 video challenge in 100 days as part of a deep identity upgrade. Every week, I'm putting back the curtain and sharing what really happens when you change your identity. Not just the mindset shifts, but the emotional resistance, the subconscious stuff that comes up, and things that start happening around you in your physical reality as a result of the work that you are starting to commit to. It's not all butterflies and rainbows, even though we're led to believe that becoming your next level self, becoming your new self, is just as simple as visualizing it in the morning and then feeling it into existence. It's not true. There is a lot we have to shift at a deep subconscious program for us to actually become that version of us. And that's what this experiment is all about. And that's exactly why I am sharing every single week these updates with you. I want to show you the truth so that when you feel derailed as a result of doing this, you know you haven't failed, you're not on the wrong track, and it's not a sign you shouldn't be doing it. It's actually a sign that you're moving in the right direction, and it's simply part of the process. Hi, I'm Kirsty Elizabeth. If you're new to the channel, I help women reclaim their power and unlock their true potential. And in this video, I'm sharing what happened in the first 7 days of this 100 video identity upgrade experiment, what came up, what it meant, and what I did to move through it. So the very first thing I was faced with was when I made this decision, I was met with a whole load of internal resistance. I felt unease about it. I had all these thoughts happening in my mind saying, it's going to be too much work. You have to commit to 100 days. What if you get ill? That is actually one of the things that came up for me. What if you can't do it? What if you don't feel like it? This fear of this commitment, this fear of it being so much, but also beneath all of that, a fear of being seen, a fear of showing too much of myself. Lots and lots of different levels to this as I'm going to walk you through over the next few minutes. So that was the very first set of resistance. And resistance isn't a sign you should stop. Resistance is a sign that you are opening the door to the exact path you're meant to be taking. We need to work through that resistance. We don't need to fight it. We need to know how to work through it. And I'm going to share some tips today. So that was what I was immediately met with. But I knew that I was intuitively guided. I knew that this came directly from my soul, from my intuition. And I knew that it was to teach me something, to help me level up. And I knew that the minute I started working on my identity and deciding to change, I knew all my stuff would come up. Everything was going to come to the surface because it has to be transmuted. It has to be alchemized. So then I decided to release a video on day 2 where I was being very open and very honest about why I was doing the challenge. I was being very vulnerable, and I committed to doing these weekly updates with you to show you behind the scenes. This felt deeply, deeply uncomfortable. So uncomfortable to be sharing deep personal stuff as I'm moving through it, not even reflecting back on it 6 months with you, which I do in all my videos. I integrate something, I learn something, and then I reflect it back. But actually moving through it in real time felt very exposing and vulnerable, like I said. But that's another reason for me to do this. And this is what I've been guided to do, is share more of myself, be more honest, be more open about what this really takes. I give you tips and things on this channel the whole time. I'm constantly giving you wisdom drops and energetic transmissions. But let's open the door and let you walk with me so you can actually see what I'm going through in real time. And trust me, that feels very, very, very exposing as someone that is a pretty private person and an introvert. So it took me 4 hours to actually post that video. I recorded it and then I faffed around and was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you know, do I, don't I, do I, don't I? Watched it a couple of times. And then I realised the very fact that I'm going through this process means that I just got to press the button, because this is the resistance. It's come up so strongly on day 2. I have to work through the resistance. Who am I in my new identity? What would she do? Would she sit there and listen to the doubts and the fears and the nonsense? Or would she publish because she committed to it and trust it was the right thing and trust that it was going to reach her audience and connect with her people in the right way to actually help them? This is what this 100-day challenge is all about, is my service, me helping other people with everything I've learned over these years and years. It's a way for me to give back, for me to help you. Why wouldn't I publish that video, right? So I hit publish, and guess what? Practically all that resistance disappeared. The fear, the doubt, all the emotional stuff. It was literally just coming up to stop me. So I want you to just contemplate that for a moment and think, has that happened to you recently? Where you've been met with so much resistance and it's made you turn away instead of move through. This is where we need to be courageous. This is where we need to be bold. this is where we need to commit to what we are doing. This came up on day 2. It happens immediately, right? And there's more that's come up as well because it's the first week and it's a real commitment. The next thing that happened, and this was right at the start of the challenge, I recorded 2 videos. I felt so inspired. I did one after the other. I thought they were absolutely amazing. I was so happy to be sharing with them. One of them was the video that I posted yesterday about triggers, and another one I posted a few days about activating your future self frequency. And they were both really, really powerful. Now, as I was trying to save the future self frequency one, I'd already changed the triggers one. When I was trying to change the future self frequency one, mouthful, I accidentally pressed delete instead of save. It was so stupid. I went onto autopilot and my hand just went to delete and I lost it. It wasn't saved, so it was gone forever. Took a deep breath, got back into the vibes, got back into the zone, and recorded it again. I was like, okay, slow down. There's a lot of resistance here. Things are going to happen. I need to be conscious and aware. Slow down, right? So I didn't get too worked up about it. I was very calm. I accepted it and moved on. So when it came to editing my triggers video a couple of days later, I realised that the sound was terrible. There was a really loud buzzing and humming all the way through it. And I couldn't believe it. I was so gutted. I was so frustrated. And just for a few minutes, 5 minutes, I just let myself feel into that. Just like, wanting to scream, because I was already feeling the pressure of 100 videos in 100 days. I was already having the doubts and fears. I was already wanting to retract, right? And so I allowed myself to feel it. And then I decided to get myself into state and record that video again. And I was so frustrated, and I was okay with being frustrated. This would have derailed most people. Fortunately, I know this work. I've lived this work. I do it over and over again. And that's why I'm taking you on the journey, so I can show you what I do for myself and what I guide my clients through to help them overcome these challenges, this resistance, all the things that are going to come up. It felt derailing, but I didn't let it derail me. And this is happening because of the energy shifts. I've set out this powerful intention of who I'm going to become this year. And then I've doubled down on that by saying, I'm going to do this action piece. And this action piece isn't small. It's a really big, bold, brave commitment to who I'm deciding to be this year. And I'm becoming her no matter what. And this is part of it. This was intuitively guided because my soul knows that by committing to this every day, I'm going to be a completely different person at the end of 100 days. I'm going to be so different, especially because I'm taking the intention with me to use this as an identity upgrade. So the energy starts shifting, things start rippling, and it starts feeling like things are out of control and falling apart. So far, all of this stuff has been resistance. It's been all these emotional wobbles. It's been, fear and doubts, and then all the tech stuff going wrong. So I've got this really powerful video that I released. I think it was day 5 of 2026, the pre-game. It's all about contrast, and it's all about why contrast happens. So if this is resonating with you, this part, I'm going to link that up in the description so you can go and watch that afterwards, because it shows you that you're actually on the right path. When contrast happens, when things fall apart, things energetically are falling away from you. And this was some of my old habits, my old patterns are just coming up to the surface and then being released. I started in this moment, I was like, I'm going to let go of this pressure. Like, the pressure is creating the chaos, the havoc. Pressure is related to fear and scarcity and lack of time, lack of ideas, lack of things to say. So I let go of it all. And then another pattern that's been coming up is this hustle, this I've got to do, because that's always been an old pattern of mine. And I think that's something I'm going to have to be working on intentionally for the rest of my life. It's so deeply ingrained in me. And I know for many of you it is as well. And so this invitation, this 100 days is an invitation for me to lean more into my feminine. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute, because I'm being forced to do that, and I have been for the last few days. Another thing that came up was the emotions and the thoughts. Just because you've decided to become a new you, just because you've decided to change how you see yourself, it doesn't mean you're automatically going to start thinking like them now. You have to rewire the current program. You have to create new neural pathways that wire in a new identity within your brain. You have to actually practice that consistently for it to become a new subconscious program, a new subconscious idea of who you are, of the version of you you're holding. And right now you're looking around your reality saying, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am. It's the old you. So these thoughts are still going to be there. But most people think they're just going to slip away because you did a meditation in the morning and you made a decision to change. Oh no, they're going to come up and they're going to get louder and louder and louder. So how I've managed this is, first of all, I've made a commitment to be and feel as relaxed as I can so I can relax my nervous system. My nervous system is obviously feeling unsafe. My brain is feeling unsafe because they're like, you need to stay the same because that's how you survive. Your brain and your nervous system don't like change. They don't want to change. They want everything on autopilot and safe and the same and familiar. But we don't want to stay the same because we're miserable. They don't care about that. Your brain and nervous system don't care about your joy and happiness and fulfillment. They want you to survive. It's a survival mechanism. So you've got to do everything you can to make yourself feel relaxed in this process. And I know that can feel very challenging. But when the emotions come up, the fear and the doubt and the resistance, breathe. Do some breath work practices, some simple ones on your own. Go on YouTube, do some breath work every day. And just really regulate that nervous system so that it feels calm, so it feels safe. This is all about creating safety, emotional safety in your body while you are changing, reassuring yourself that you're safe. And the mind, the ego, will come up with all sorts of tricks trying to convince you not to go ahead. Like when I was thinking, oh my God, about video 2, do I publish, do I not? I really didn't want to, it took 4 hours, all the rest of it. That was my ego trying to stop me. It was coming up with some really convincing arguments like, you can just do it in private. Why do you need to tell everyone? It's going to make you look weak. It's going to make you look like this and like this. And you can just still do this challenge, but you can do it privately. But I knew if I was going to do this challenge privately, then there's also an escape. I could duck out at any point if it got hard, or I wasn't able to do it, or I ran out of time, or any one of those other excuses my ego wanted to throw up. I could just not do it that day because I hadn't made myself publicly accountable. By doing this, I'm holding myself there. I'm building self-integrity, I'm building self-trust, and I'm building that commitment to you and to myself, right? So the mind will try and trick you, and it's up to you to decipher. Anything that talks you out of what you've decided to do is a trick, and it's the ego, and it's coming from fear. What we want to do in these situations, and what I did, was I acknowledged these feelings. I acknowledged these thoughts. And I was like, okay. And sometimes they felt so real, I felt like they were true. But I just kept going back to my heart and to my soul and my intuition saying, I was guided to do this, so I'm going to do it anyway. And then you take the action that is opposite to the fear and opposite to what your mind's telling you to do. And guess what? Your emotions calm down, the voices quieten, and everything just relaxes by about 90% because you took that action. And this is where most people stop. They don't take that action. Keep acting from your new identity while calming yourself and regulating yourself. That's so important. So the last big thing that happened that I want to share, this is another old pattern of mine. And do you remember what I said right at the beginning? One of my fears was, what if I'm ill and I can't commit to the 100 days? So guess what happens on day 7? I come down with this stinking cold. You might have been able to hear it or still hear remnants of it. It's been like, I don't know if this is the 4th day or the 5th day, but I was quite unwell with it for 3-4 days. Of course that happened. Of course that happened. I almost planted the seed. I did plant the seed right at the beginning because it was a fear. And it's an old pattern of mine. So of course that's come up. So how did I manage it? In the past, that would have derailed me. Normally for other people, that would derail them. But for me, I've decided to take this as an invitation to lean more into my feminine because I know that that's what this is for me as part of my identity upgrade. I am so much more in my feminine than I've ever been in my life. And I really feel like I have a good balance, but I know I'm being called to go even deeper into that feminine power, that feminine energy, and more into flow, more into ease, more into receiving, more into surrender, more into trust, more into faith. And so that's the direction I took. In between 100 sneezes and tissues everywhere and then a cough and then all the rest of it, I went through the whole motions. I was resting as much as possible, but I was still posting that video. I didn't record in this time because when I'm inspired, I might make 2 videos, sometimes even 3, not often, but sometimes 3, if I'm in that high energy state that I want to share with you. So fortunately, I had videos that I could still publish. So all I needed to do was edit them. And so this to me has been an invitation to say, right, how can I show up to my purpose? Because that's what this identity upgrade is all about for me. How can I show up to my purpose fully committed, without that hustle, without that doing, without that overly masculine energy? How can I lean more into my feminine and let the intuition and the flow energy guide me? How can I achieve more by doing less? How can I make my videos and transmissions more powerful and more impactful without overdoing, without overcommitting, without feeling like I have to work 4 hours a day to make a video go live? And so this invitation for me is, it's the energy, it's the new identity, and it's also finding a way, a routine, a process that works for me and works with what I'm trying to achieve. So there's the action piece as well. It was a very challenging 7 days, and now I'm on day 10 or 11, not sure. I'll have to count the videos to know. And I feel like I've been through so much already. So much has changed within me in 10 days. I feel so empowered. I can look back on being ill for all this time and the technical issues and all the rest of it, like it's all noise. And I can look back and just look at myself, having moved through every part of this with grace. I'm looking back at allowing these old emotions from this old self, all the old fears of becoming this next version of me, and I've let myself feel them. And I'll go through that more next week at the end of week 2, because there's been more processing this week and I'm not even at the end of it. So I'll share that with you at the end of this week. But this is such powerful work, and every part of this that I've shared with you from week 1 would have derailed most people. So I'm sharing this to show you it doesn't need to derail you. And if you follow what I'm sharing with you and you use some of these tips, then you can join me over these 100 days and you can become a completely different version of you just by following these free tips in this weekly update. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure that you follow these videos. I'll put them in their own playlists so you can find them easily. And be part of this shift, be part of this change, because there's someone in you that wants to come out. There's a version of you that is so much more empowered, confident, courageous, intuitive, just feminine energy embodied, someone that is really going after their dreams, someone that's unapologetic, someone that is so deeply loving and compassionate about everything and just in awe and bliss of daily life. That's who we want to tap into. That's who we want to bring to the surface. That is your new identity. And she's there, or he's there, ready, waiting for you. So let me know in the comments what's come through for you, what your ahas and breakthroughs were. Don't forget, I will link up a couple of videos that I've mentioned in this video in the description. And also, if you are looking for any deeper support, I'm also going to link up a couple of links where you can work one-to-one with me. I hope you have the most amazing day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.